Yahudim is the Hebrew word for Jews, referring to the Jewish people, a group that comes from the ancient Israelites of the Kingdom of Judah. The word comes from Yehudi, meaning a single Jew or Judean, and is the origin of the English word Jew. It represents people who have traditionally followed Judaism and belong to the Jewish nation. Laure Juno, Duchess of Abrantès, was born on the 6th of November 1784. She was a French writer, most famous for her memoirs. She was the wife of a French general, Jean Andoche Junot. Excuse me if I got that word wrong. But she once said, "The Jew, the Negro, and the Portuguese can be seen in a single person, the Duchess Abrantès." The Portuguese were the first European to establish themselves on the West Africa coast. They came first as merchants and secondly as conquerors and slavers. Dr. Allen H. Godbey says the Portuguese founded St. Thomas in 1471. In 1484, King John II gave the Jews in Portugal a choice. It's either you convert to Christianity or you move to St. Thomas. Many were sent there. During the times of persecution, thousands of Jews left Portugal. So many were leaving that in 1499 and 1531, the king passed laws banning converted Jews from leaving without special permission. John II was responsible for deporting thousands of children of enslaved Castilian Jews to the African island of São Tomé, where they were raised as Christians and became colonists. This cruel act was a way of populating his new territory and was part of his broader exploitative policies. John was making a lot of profit from his investments, mainly thanks to the main gold source, at that time the coast of Guinea. He was the pioneer of the transatlantic slavery. By the end of the 15th century, Portuguese vessels were shipping thousands of enslaved people annually. John II's creation of royal monopoly and his establishment of trading posts cemented Portugal's role as the pioneer of the transatlantic slave trade. From the book From Babylon to Timbuktu by Rudolph R. Windsor, about 100,000 entered Portugal, and it doesn't say here, but it's basically those who came from Spain, mainly, the Jews that came from Spain, because they got kicked out of Spain as well, because they weren't willing to conform and, change to Christianity. So they got kicked out and they moved into Portugal. So yeah, that's what it means by about 100,000 entered Portugal. They were permitted to enter under the condition that they paid a poll tax, with the understanding that they would leave the country in 8 months, with the king at the time promising to take them whichever destination that they wanted to go to in the end of the period. When the time expired, many were stranded and deprived of their freedom and sold into slavery. During the reign of King Joah II, 700 black Hebrew children were ruthlessly taken from their parents in Portugal and transported to the Isle of São Tomé of the west coast of Africa. So basically, the king of the time, King Joe II at that time, and he promised them that, look, obviously, you pay the poll tax, you can stay here for 8 months, and then after that, we're gonna organize these ships that's gonna take you lot, around the world, wherever you wanna go, wherever destination, we'll drop you lot off. But he ended up not completely completing his end of the bargain, because afterwards they ended up, getting transported to West Africa as slaves, In the reign of Don John II, close to the 15th century, large numbers of Jews were expelled from Portugal and taken to the coast of southern Guinea. The island of St. Thomas was populated by mulattoes, descended from the Jewish exiles and Anglo women. Now, I'm going to look at two of the main descriptions or words used in the sentence that I just read, the mulattoes and the Anglo women. I think those two is key to finding out what was going on in these times and who are these Jews, who are these people. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it says there that the St. Thomas Island was populated by mulattoes. Now, the mulattoes, if you look up the word mulatto, it's a person of mixed white and black ancestry, especially a person with one white and one black parent. Mulatto is a racial classification that refers to people of mixed sub-Saharan African and European ancestry only. When speaking or writing about singular women in English, the word is mulatta. So basically, mulatto is, from my understanding, it's mixed race, especially someone who's mixed from one white and one black parent. And it says that one of the mixes is sub-Saharan African, and the other mix is European ancestry. That's what a mulatto is. So when we look at that sentence again where it says the island of St. Thomas was populated by mulattoes, that means it's populated by mixed-raced people who were descended from Jewish exiles and Anglo women. So remember, we said mulattoes, the parents are one white and one black, let's just say. So we'll skip the Jewish lot and we'll look at the Anglo women. An Anglo women, they were women from the Anglo-Saxon period between the 5th and the 11th centuries who had different roles and levels of power. The elite women were active in politics and religion, while common women worked in homes and farms. Although they weren't part of a formal class, they had certain rights and opportunities. Christianity gave them chances for education and leadership, with some women becoming abbesses, saints, and even powerful rulers. So, Anglo women, they were from the Anglo-Saxon period. Who are the Anglo-Saxons? They were Germanic peoples, Angles, Saxons, and Jutes, who migrated to Britain starting around the 5th century AD after the Romans left and settled a land that became known as Angleland or England. Right, so we know basically the Anglo women were, some will say, basically white women. So when we look at that sentence again that we read, where it says the island of St. Thomas was populated by mixed race descendants from, and we found out that Anglo women is basically the other race of the parent, which is the white. So that would only mean the other parent, which is someone from the Jewish exile. They're talking about a black Jew. Moving on. The Portuguese were the first Europeans to trade on the West African coast and to establish colonies on a large scale. Guinea, discovered by the Portuguese in 1446. The island of St. Thomas was discovered by the Portuguese in 1471. The new inhabitants were black Jews deported here in 1484. Black Jews migrated to the Angola coast from St. Thomas between 1484 and 1499. Going back to what I said at the start, when I read Lure Juno, Duchess of Abrantès' words when she said, "The Jew, the Negro, and the Portuguese can be seen in a single person. Let that sink in. When I used to go to school, the school that I used to go to, we had Portuguese kids that used to speak Portuguese, but at the time, when you look at their skin, you're thinking, hold on, they're speaking Portuguese, but they've got a dark skin complexion, and you're thinking, obviously I was just a kid them times, so I used to be a bit confused because we had, let's just say some white Portuguese, and then we had black Portuguese. Some of them were black, coloured, but they were speaking Portuguese and they were from Portugal, right? Now when you talk to some of them, they'll tell you that they were from Angola. But today's video, I just wanted us to dig deeper and see that you might not just be a Portuguese who's black. You gotta look deeper than that. You might not just be an Angolan who speaks Portuguese. You gotta look deeper than that. You could actually be a Jew, a black Jew, who were taken from Spain, who moved from Spain to Portugal and then got taken to Angola. Do you get what I'm saying? So that's the whole point of this video, is just to realize that, hold on, like, it's deeper than just, I speak Portuguese or I speak French and I'm from France. You gotta go back. What happened before France? Oh, you probably came from Nigeria or Ghana or Congo. Do you get what I'm saying? And then it's thinking, alright, what happened before that? Do you get what I'm saying? So it's just all about knowing our history and just tracing it back and trying to see the tribe, the lineage, where we come from, because a lot of us do actually come from, the black Jews who migrated. Do you get what I'm saying? Who migrated from to Spain. Do you get what I'm saying? So I'm gonna touch on Spain as well, I think, on my next video. We need to figure out who we are and where we came from, for real, so that we can know how to move forward and build this community. So just make sure you press the like button if you've learned anything, and if you've got anything to say, I'm here as well. I'm all ears. Leave a comment. You can save me some time by teaching me something that I might not know as well, or share it for other people to see and read and know, and to dig in deeper and do some more research. Make sure you like the video, press the like button, leave a comment, and if it's your first time seeing me today, make sure you subscribe as well. My name's Forever Blessed Chris, and this has been Chris Speaks History. And remember that I love you. Just remember that Yeshua loves you even more. And I'll see you lot on the next video. God bless you.